Never heard of it. Small little cities, you blink and you're past them, right? You just blink and pass them. How many of you guys ever been to downtown Los Angeles? How many have been to New York? San Francisco? Miami? How many of you have been to San Diego? It's funny because last week, yeah, me too. Were you there? I was there. We went to downtown, and my Sophie, she doesn't like big cities. We drove through Little Italy, which is next to downtown. And she's like, this is downtown? And I'm like, yeah, this is it. She's like, it's so small. Because she's comparing it to Los Angeles, right? She's comparing it to San Francisco. She's comparing it to New York, which she's been. So she's like, this is tiny. And she's like, oh, okay, I could do this. And she was okay with it, right? The point is, what happens in big cities? There's a lot going on. You can get lost, right? So we're in Whittier, California, right? But some of us don't live in Whittier. Some of us live in Arcadia. Some of us live in Pasadena. Some of us live in Fontana. Some of us live in, I don't know, where else? Am I missing? La Mirada, right? Different places. Montebello. Yeah. La Habra. So on your drive or your ride, whichever, to Whittier, do you go through different things? Do you go through different, or do you see different things, different stores, anything like that? The point is this. When we're in a city, in a big city, and this is still considered somewhat of a big city, we travel through so many things that could distract us from actually getting here. Or on the way home could distract us from what we've just been doing and thinking. So, there's the mall. Oh man, I need a new pair of jeans, right? Oh, there's whatever restaurant. I'm kind of hungry, right? Or, oh, there's a supermarket. Or there's Home Depot, and man, I really want to get this thing done, right? There's a lot of distractions, especially in the big city. And so what Paul does is he starts to really think about all these things that could happen to the Ephesians as far as getting distracted. So I'm going to read a little more, and we're reading, for those of you that haven't heard, we're reading the introduction of the quarterly. So we're looking at paragraph 3. It says, because Christians' faith is all about Christ, Paul radiates admiration and worship of him. If wobbly Christian, I underline this, it says, if wobbly Christian disciples are to regain their focusing, it will be because they recapture their first love of Jesus and establish fresh trust in his grace and power. We have to regain that love towards Christ. I'm going to skip, and I'm going to go to the last 2 paragraphs of the introduction. And if you haven't read the introduction, I strongly suggest you do. It's about a page or 2 long. It's really quick, but it gives you a good setting, a good foundation of what's happening, and what's going to happen, what we're going to be looking at. And it says, in pursuing the importance of being part of God's church, Paul develops 4 metaphors for the church. Believers make up the body of Christ, demonstrating their devotion to Christ and their unity with each other. They are a living temple, that's 2, built through the sacrifice of Christ on Calvary, in which God is worshipped. They are the bride of Christ, that's 3, who looks forward toward a grand marriage ceremony when the bridegroom comes to claim them as his own. The final metaphor expresses Paul's efforts to re-enlist them to the Christian faith. Note that word, re-enlist. And I think this happens to a lot of us. We come to Christ all full gun-ho, and then something happens and we fall away. So he's talking about